Activism is one of the most difficult jobs in this country because to show up as your most authentic self is a form of being a revolutionary.
Right now, we have our first honoree, 24-year-old racial justice leader, Chelsea Miller. Chelsea is the co-founder of one of the largest youth-led civil rights organizations in the country, Freedom March NYC, which is focused on protest and policy change. She's joining us in the studio to talk about her present actions and her future. But first, someone special wanted to give Chelsea her flowers.
There's this idea that in order to make change, you need a sophisticated PowerPoint deck, big corporate backing, or a fancy degree. Those things don't hurt, but the truth is, the world starts to change when you are ready to change it. All you need is passion, determination, and the willingness to take action. Chelsea Miller has all that, along with wisdom beyond her years and a commitment to justice that does not waver. Chelsea, you make us so proud. We are ready to follow you wherever you lead us.
We definitely want to reach beyond that archetype of an activist with a megaphone and really get into the meat of what you do and the impact that you've had so far.
I've always been interested in creating a difference in my community. I've always been interested in how do I make sure that I'm leaning back and I'm pouring into the next group of young girls who are coming up behind me.
As we start to think about how police brutality and these incidents have really become more normalized, how do we stay in the moment?
When we think about this idea of being tired, when we think about ideas around our trauma, it's really important to figure out sustainable ways to create change. Activism is one of the most difficult jobs in this country because to show up as your most authentic self is a form of being a revolutionary. When I went outside on the front lines, I had no idea what was going to happen. I just knew that we needed to be outside because if we were silent, then they would say that we were complicit with our own oppression. They would write the stories for us.
Take me back to your first protest at Barclay Center. What was the moment that really sticks with you?
So you have to remember, it was May 30th, 2020. So for a lot of people, this was the time period where so many protests were breaking out across the country. And there was a narrative that was circulating in the media that was focused so much on property and the looting and the rioting. There were people who were a part of the protest group who decided to actually prevent agitators from breaking into Target. It was really important for us to make sure that we were clear on what is the message that we have for tonight. The next day, my friend reached out and was like, I saw that you were outside last night. Is there anything being organized? And I was like, no. And so both myself and my friend, Nyla Dari, we came together and said, well, let's organize something. And then by 8 p.m., we had organized the largest nonviolent protest in New York City that night.
And that's Freedom March NYC, the onset.
That's the birth of Freedom March NYC. We wanted to make sure that as we were out there, that we were centering that message. And I think that we have to ask ourselves as a country and the world, why did it take property being destroyed for us to care? Young people are the present. Young people are now. Young people are fighting and creating change and building new systems. The question is whether or not you are going to support them or if you're going to continue to silence them.
Now tell me a little bit about your relationship with Vital Voices.
There was this leadership summit. I applied, I got it, and that changed my life. It exposed me to the fact that there are people out there who believe in creating and disrupting and reimagining.
So what's next for Freedom March NYC?
What's next is continuing to be unapologetic, continuing to show up and making sure that we center the message of this movement, and we will not be silenced and we will not be pushed aside, and we will ensure at the end of the day that there is a sisterhood waiting for them to also be a part of this movement because we need all of the voices that we can get, and we absolutely cannot do this work alone.
Thank you for joining us tonight, Chelsea.